Alright, this has been long overdue, so I'm gonna just get this out of the way as quick as I can. So, basically, what's going on is I severely underestimated how much work I was gonna need to put into college, so quick disclaimer out of the way, I'll get into the tutorial, but this will cover the Unity aspect of things, but I really do apologize that I have basically gone MIA from things like VR chat and, like, in general. You may see me, if you were on my friends list, you would occasionally see me online, but it's a case of I was actually just online there and then, but the whole time I was offline, I was at college. It was like ass deep in it. It's like, yikes. Anyway, onto the Unity side of uploading fighters models to VRChat. So, sorry for that thud. I have a bottle. I have something. I was drinking something. But anyway, so what we need to do is, let's see. If I go to my, let's see, fighters effects. I know I've put my DBFC models in here. Here we go. So I put all the stuff from my archive into here. So anyway, so let's say you imported one of the models from the archive, or you've recently just rigged up one of the models from Blender. When importing into Unity, you will find the files sort of looking something like this. So you'll need, the common one you probably won't need as much. I have it for visual effects standards. What we need is the FBX, which will look like this, or something of that variety, ignoring the sphere. Then you will need the Costume 01 folder, which will contain all of the textures. So I'm using Android 18 as an example here. Once you have that, you want to go into, click on the FBX, and if you have your inspector over here like I do, you will see that this will show up. There are a few things we need to factor in when it comes to uploading models to VRChat. First off, we need to have a few things on this section ticked off. We want legacy blend shape normals, so that way the shading doesn't change weirdly while using blend shapes. We also want read and write enabled, and that's pretty much it when it comes to the tick boxes. However, for optimization reasons, you could always turn this on. It's like mesh compression. Basically, this will just on the fly lower the polygon count of the character of your character's model, depending on how high you set it. Let's just do low, for example. But we're not done with this yet. Instead of model, we want to go to rig now. As you can see here, it says generic. So we need to open this up and set it to a humanoid rig. So that way, it actually is it's in place. So now we can hit apply. But it's not entirely done yet. Unity can be a little bit at times, so we'll need to configure it. And as I suspected, it is we are needing to reconfigure the rig. So as you can see here, where it says spine, we've instead got a chest bone, even though we do have a spine bone. So we need to basically just drag and drop, as I'm doing here, into where it's going. We don't need to worry about the upper chest, thankfully. Otherwise, oh boy. Anyway, one quick check of the head. We need to also make sure that the jaw slot is empty, because in the past that has led to the mouth being stuck open. I don't know if that will be the case anymore, but I do it out of just being cautious. So with the head section here, neck, head, and your two eye bones. Once that's done, you can hit apply, and also just make sure the body has spine and chest here, and your arms are pretty much as they should be. Hands are good. Sweet. All right. So now we can hit done. So that's the FBX lined up for VRChat. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now we can simply drag this here, just if you have your project files down below like this, you could just go up here and just drag the FBX, and it will pop into the scene smack center of the scene. So it's if I dragged another one, it will just go you get the idea. So dragging it onto your hierarchy that will make it so it is it's dead center. So What we need to do now is we both need to set up the materials and get rid of this. So first off, let's get the materials. So we'll start off with a material, which will be, like, we want our base textures, which will be your base, SSS, ILM, and detail. This one's for this, and we need another one for face decal. And if it's a base game fighter's asset like this one, we also need another material for the battle damage. Apologies if you can hear my keyboard. It isn't a mechanical one, so it's a noisy one. Basically, my keyboard's a noisy one, so disregard that. Anyway, so for this is under the presumption that you have the Arc System Works shader imported. If you don't, that isn't a big issue, but I'd suggest getting it because the fighters models and models from games like Guilty Gear Strive, Xrd, DNF Duel, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, they all require this variety of shading. Anyway, so for these two, we want to change the, if you select these, you'll notice that it says here standard. This is basically Unity's built-in standard shading map. What we want to change it to, again, this is assuming you have the Arc System Works shader imported. We want to click where it says standard, and it will bring up a menu. Well, usually it won't be this crazy, but I just have a bucket load of shaders from other projects. Anyway, so for the Arc System Works shader, it'll be under this. And apologies if I am butchering that name to high hell. We'll have Arc System Works, Game Select. Since this is a fighters model, we want fighters. And I personally choose opaque, but transparent has its uses depending on the scenario. So we'll go opaque. Oh, I am having a stroke. I thought I was doing the basics. We want the decal. My apologies. We want utils and decal. All right, so these are now set up properly. But that process I showed earlier, we will need to apply for the base color. Game select, fighters, opaque. So in order to apply onto a material, apply material onto the model, there are two ways you can do it. One, if you click on the model like this, you would notice there's a dark blue outline. That will just show this thing. However, if we want the mesh, in the case it'll be this. When you click on a mesh, it will display an orange outline, as you can see here. Or the menu would change to look like this. What we need to do, if you wanted to change the materials, you can simply click a material and drag it here, and it will automatically apply it. Alternatively, you can drag and drop. But if you want to be extremely specific, or your materials are in another folder, you can click on this little dot here, and it will bring up a material list. Again, I have a ton of materials, so it's a bit so yeah, you can see where it could be confusing if you use this option, but it's there if you want to be more specific. So anyways, just quickly drag and drop. So that's the material. This is the battle damage decal, so that will go here. And the face decal goes here. Now, as you notice, everything's all white, but that's because I haven't applied textures yet. Starting with the base textures. Bear in mind, this is Android 18's model, so I'm going under the pretense of this, but it typically applies to every Arc System Works type model. So for the base, we want AEN. If I don't fat finger the B key. AEN base. And if you want to snap to where a texture is, you can just click on a texture node if you've applied one, and it will automatically show you where that texture is in your files, hence the yellow outline on this. So now that we are in the right folder, we can also click the SSS texture, which is how shadow, as you can see, this shows how shadows are colored in. But we're not quite done yet. As you see here, we've got two missing texture nodes. if I go to the base folder, which is above like this folder, we can see there are 3 textures here. This one's for face decal, and these 2 are the ones we need. ILM. See? Looking a lot more like the fighter's model now, but we're still missing one thing, which is the detail texture. And there we go, that's the base color. So off the top, like, you could get away with just uploading as is right here and then with this like look when it comes to looks. However, we still need to address the other things. So first off, for face decal, and also, yeah, we'll need to address it because, as you can see here, not really ideal. So we'll put, if we drag the decal texture, you see that it automatically applied it to the battle damage, which is not a good look. But oh right, that's because like somehow this got parented. So let's get rid of the. I don't know how that keeps happening, so let's delete that. So for the battle damage, it should be something like CMN underscore damage. Yeah, so the material will look like the texture will be labeled under a folder labeled CMN underscore damaged underscore decal. This is what you see when battle damage, when your character in Dragon Ball FighterZ gets so badly battle damaged, or like reaches a certain health threshold that you start seeing these. We want to disable. Oh, fine. All right, so sorry for the brief cut. Discord decided to go burr. So anyway, what you want to do next is now, like, to disable the battle damage, is we want to disable this by clicking on this tick box, and as you can see, now we're looking a bit cleaner. So now we can do a few more things. We got to do a few more things, like get rid of this. So if I were to try and delete anything on this model right now, it would just have a hissy fit. So, oh, never mind. I guess they fixed it, because usually in the past when I did that, it would just say it's part of a prefab. Please delete. Please fix this. So, we do also want to get rid of this light source. This is not needed because it's for the sake of it's for the animation side of things when it came to Blender. So the sun can be deleted. These are all that should remain: the armature and the mesh. All right. So now we can get onto the upload side of things. Want to go click on the mouse so that way the blue outline shows up again. You should see animator here if you've applied the rig correctly. Android 18 outfit avatar, that's because I have them separated by combat outfit and the casual outfit that's seen in one of the cutscenes of fighters. You want to go add component. You want, if you've got the VRC SDK installed via the creator companion, you can look for VRC avatar descriptor. It should show like this, and the menu will look something like this once you've got it attached. However, you could just upload as is, but a bunch of things would be wrong with this. For the first one we need to address is the viewpoint. So usually you want it to be in between the eyes, but if I click edit here. Alright, so a little bit of a technical issue. So I had to use a height chart. But I'm just gonna visualize what should be happening with the viewpoint. So I'm just gonna quickly create a sphere and shrink it down to roughly the same size. So normally you'd see a little ball that's about this size. And on the VRChat avatar descriptor, when you hit edit, you should be able to, in theory, it should show, let's see, let me just quickly set up its position as to where it should relatively be. So it should look something like this. So what you'd be able to do is essentially you want to move the viewpoint until it is in line with the eyes from the front, and then from the side you would do that, so that way the ball sort of sits like this. Now, the way I've done this little 2D view is because I hit, like, go to this little thing. It's like, by clicking it, it sets you takes you from a 3D view to a 2D view, and then you can click these to rotate around the scene while still keeping a 2-dimensional view. So, like, hope that makes sense. Also, I had to import a height chart just so that way I could actually, well, do something with the height. So that way I could actually properly set the viewpoint. So it's like a pretty useful thing there. Anyway, now that we've got our viewpoint, we want to go for our we want to establish lip sync in VRChat. So we want to go lip sync. It's usually set to default, but we want it to be set to Viseme blend shape. This because if you followed the tutorial to a T, you would have shape keys for this. Anyway, we want to take our body mesh and apply it here where it says face mesh, but in this case it's the whole body since it's just one mesh, but it's all the shape keys that are listed here are just for the face, so nothing else on the model is being applied. Now, so that right there is your lip sync sorted. Now we want to sort out our eye tracking. Now, since it's having a stroke for me, I will sort of like with the viewpoint editor. When you do this, we want to set up our eyes. So when you in these two slots, click on the circle and just type eye. You want the bones labeled as left eye and right eye. That way, these will be because if you tried using the one that's labeled I_L, it will just snap into the eyes will just go completely white because they will just probably try and rotate inwards. Anyway, so when you click preview on either of these, normally a couple of rotating or I think they're called gimbal spheres or whatever. I'll have to look that term up later, but a couple of rotators will show up, which you can manually manipulate the eyes to look up, down, left, or right. So for looking up, you can sort of see that. All right. Oh, that can actually help. So to get the ideal look, we want to if you move your mouse in such a way, you see 2 arrows. By clicking and dragging, you can rotate this way. It's a bit more slow, but if you're having the same problem I am with the rotators not coming up, you can easily just do it this way. So for looking up in this context, we want -15, just because it sort of looks believable. For looking down, we can do it's a positive value, but in my personal case, 25 usually does it, but by the looks of it, that's a little too close to default, so we can bring the eyes further down. So let's do 40. Let's do 50 for this. Yep, that looks about right. Oh, it's just going to default to that. Okay. So now that we've got our looking up and down, we want, by default, usually when it's looking left and right, I do -25 for and 25 respectively. It just looks more believable with that, but you can play with these values as you like. Now for blinking, we want if you're an animator, you could just simply take the bones that are on the model and just manually animate them via this thing. But anyway, so we want for the eyelid type, we want blend shapes, because in this context it's blend shapes, but you can manually animate them if you had bones. So for this, we want to go and do the same thing for what we did for Visemes and drag the mesh for the body here. So you can sort of see here, it's already tried to put it in looking up, down, left, and right. We want to essentially open up these drop downs and make sure that the shake key is set to none for everything except default blink. Because for like using this as a using my own, when I look up, I don't tend to squint. So that's my or same with looking down. So that's my logic for this. Anyway, this is like now that you've done eye look and lip sync, like now you want to do your animation, your playable layers if you want to add toggles. But that will be for another tutorial. But like with just this, you should be good to go for uploading. Let me just do one quick double check. Yeah, so you could also, like these two tick boxes are if you have full body tracking. If you, so 3 to 4 point tracking is essentially you're like for if you just have hands. I don't actually know. I don't know what will happen with the top one. I do know for the bottom one, if you like this is like what happens with full body tracking, where if you are moving, your body still tries to do a walk animation, breaking the visual. So if you want to just like be floating in the air as you're moving while you're in full body, take this off. All right, that basically will cover it. So all you need to do now is in the VRC SDK. Log in here, and then when you go to Builder, you just want to like set a thumbnail. I'll quickly do a quick transition after logging in. All right, so let's quickly go this way. And like for the upload process, you want to just set a name. You can choose to select new thumbnail, or you could opt to capture from scene. In this case, let's just go post processing. Yeah. So this is purely just for the sake of a visual. Let's just enable battle damage because it looks like the camera selecting the thumbnail does not like that shading whatsoever. Alright. Capture. Oh, this is another thing. When you're importing textures, it will give you this warning saying it's like streaming maps is not enabled. Just click autofix and it will automatically apply that. So you should so once it's done that, tick this, and then you could build and publish. I'm not going to do it because I already have the small and several others as one avatar, so that will be the coming release. Anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry I haven't been uploading much or doing anything online with VRChat. It's because I had just been so caught up in classwork. That and my ADHD is also a menace for any sort of time management, so massive apologies. Have a good one.